I think this is one of the most important things a fella can own. No, not the truck and trailer. I'm talking about this. Come on. A CDL. Wrote it on a piece of paper because I didn't think it'd be a good idea to show you my license. Today I want to talk about whether or not it's worth me having a CDL, even though I've never been and never plan on being a full-time truck driver. But I have done it part-time, and I'm going to talk about some of the part-time gigs I've had, what those have paid, and whether or not I think it's worth it to keep this thing. We're also going to make 2 trips up north so I can pick up some more of this Indiana limestone and get the backhoe hauled back home. We got a lot to do and a lot to see. Let's get to work. Hey everybody, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. It is early and I'm nervous. We're renting Dirt Perfect's truck and trailer today to go up and get the rest of the limestone and the backhoe back here to where we live. I gotta make 2 trips and everything has to go perfect for this to work out today. It's currently raining. I'm anticipating at least 1 dead battery and 1 flat tire. But other than that, I cannot have any surprises today. Let's hit the road and get up there. Truck checks out, everything looks good. We're gonna go ahead and hit the road. You guys can tag along and see if we actually make it back in one piece or not.
So this truck and trailer belongs to Dirt Perfect. Most of the followers of the channel know that I used to work full-time for Mike starting around 2009, but prior to that I worked for him part-time for some summers and some breaks while I was in school. And at that time, he didn't have a semi or trailer and there's no need for a CDL. So that's not actually where my commercial driver's license history starts. It starts when I was at school. I was looking for some quick, easy money, and at the time I was going to Ball State, and they had an advertisement for student bus drivers. Paid a whopping $9 an hour, and just for some fun facts here, that is the exact same pay that they pay now, $9 an hour for student bus drivers. They advertised training included and paid for. Now I figured why not? I went through the program, I got my Class B CDL, and I started driving a bus for them. And that was the first time I started making money with a commercial driver's license. Whenever I got out of school, I ended up going to work full-time for Mike. And he just recently got a semi and a trailer, and he wanted me to get my Class A CDL. And then every now and then we'd go down after work, down in his lot that he has now. We'd set some cones up and he'd help me practice the serpentine back and dock backing and that kind of thing. Help give me some of the basic skills I needed to pass. At the time, what I could do is I got my permit and I could drive anytime as long as an actual CDL holder was in the passenger seat with me. And that's what we started doing, and that's kind of how I learned how to drive a truck. Now I'll be honest, it took me 3 attempts to get my Class A CDL. The first time I went up, I did the pre-trip, and I did everything in a common sense kind of way. Well, I lost quite a few points because I didn't talk about checking the van doors on the lowboy trailer. If you ever do your pre-trip, they want everything that's in the book, not just everything that you're looking at. The second time, the instructor and I had a disagreement on what the shoulder was for, and I got the famous quote, "I would have passed you if it wasn't for your attitude," end quote. So next time I went up, I did it by the book. I kept my mouth shut. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I passed. And honestly, if a fellow would have just done that the first time, I'd have had it pretty easy. And another way that I was making money randomly at the time was working for a company called Melrose Pyrotechnics. I got in with Melrose Pyrotechnics a couple years earlier when a buddy of mine was shooting for him, and I kind of wanted to get into it. It just seemed really cool. Well, they were desperate for people with Class B CDLs and a hazmat endorsement. So I went and picked up my hazmat endorsement, which basically consisted of a very easy written test and a background check, and I was in. And I started hauling explosives, their product, from their magazine to the shoot site and being able to help out at the shows. And it was pretty cool. Now, once I had my CDL for Mike, I still wasn't really a full-time truck driver. And I don't know that I could ever be classified as a full-time truck driver. It just was kind of one of the random skill sets I had and the certifications I had. So I could do it. It was just an asset. We'd show up to the job sites. Mike and I would lay the house off, meet with the property owner, make sure everything looked good. Then I'd clear the land, dig the hole, lay out the footer, pour the ICF, backfill it, waterproof the foundation, and I'd pull off to the next job, and the framing crew would come in and start doing the floor system. So truck driving was really only when I was mobilizing equipment to and from the job site. It never was really a full-time thing for me. It's just always been an asset.
It took me about an hour longer to get loaded up than I expected. A little bit more finagling than I had planned. That's fine. The fella's got nothing but time, you know. I keep boxes of it at the house. Boxes of it. This first 2 or 3 miles on the way back is this county road that's just bouncy as all get out. We're going 35, which is lower than I like to be. It's a good strap and chain adjuster though. Get things kind of settled into place. Then I can snug a few things down if I need to. When it comes to loose stone like this, it'll move a little bit. That's why I wrap it with that plastic.
I ended up working full-time for Mike for about 5 years before I ended up leaving and going to the career I'm in now. If you're new to the channel and you don't know, my full-time career now is a full-time fireman. And no, Captain Kleeman is not my rank at the department. Captain Kleeman is a play on a boat captain for our YouTube yacht project, which is kind of the big project on the channel. My rank is lieutenant. And if any of you watching the channel know any full-time firemen, you know that almost all of them have a gig on the side, and quite a few will drive trucks. In fact, there are certain DOT laws regarding bunk time and driving time specifically for first responders, because it's such a common side job for first responders, police, medics, and fire. So I started driving for a different company on my days off, hauling dry bulk 80,000 pounds from Louisville up to East Canton, Ohio and back. And that was a haul, getting through Louisville and Cincinnati and trying to get up to East Canton. At the time I was driving for that company, they were paying $450 for that trip. I do that 4 times a month, and well, that wasn't too bad for a little bit of extra fun cash.
The other thing to keep in mind about that East Canton run is the old risk versus reward. Is that part-time trucking job worth it? It was an easy route and it paid well, but I used up every minute of my clock, and that truck had an electronic log on it. I used up every minute of my clock on that run. And if one thing went wrong, there was one backup, or a little bit of snow, or a little bit of rain, or something slowed traffic up, well, things got into a territory I wasn't always comfortable with.
I did that for about a year before I actually ran into Dirt Perfect down at the market one day. I was talking about driving for this company, and he said, well, if you ever have any free time and you want to haul some equipment for me, there may be an opportunity coming up. And I thought that sounded pretty good. A little bit local drive, not quite as much money, but a heck of a lot less stress, and still a little bit of fun money on the side. And that's how I ended up back at Dirt Perfect's, working part-time for him, driving a truck and running equipment on occasion. Now, most of you know by now that I don't actually work part-time for Dirt Perfect anymore. When I worked for him, that was my fun money, and I'm fortunate enough that the YouTube revenue has kind of taken over the fun money side of my life, which means now I can make the same amount, if not more revenue, by working on projects on the property, and that's kind of the path I've chosen to go. But even still, doing what we're doing today, driving up, picking up this stone, bringing it back and the backhoe back, that CDL is still proving its value. Although I'm not getting paid for this trip, in fact it's quite the opposite. I'm renting his truck and trailer that's still cheaper than me paying him to truck this for me.
If I got any chance of making a second trip today, we gotta move quick. But smooth at the same time, you know? Quick and smooth. Oh boy. She is just ever so balanced like that. She's not super. Let's get her low to the ground, shall we? Probably a good idea. There you go. Jerk her around a whole bunch. They love that. Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm getting a whole mason's yard over here. Look at all of this. We got a lot of material to do something with. I don't know what yet, but something. Get off of it. Thank you. Doing a quick walk around, make sure I'm not leaving any tools on the ground. We are 15 minutes ahead of the modified schedule. It's kind of like how airlines run, you know, if you're late, you just modify the schedule and then all of a sudden you're on time. That's what we're doing. Sure this will go really well. In an incredibly embarrassing moment, I forgot to hit record and hooking that up. It went in fine though. It's the worst case scenario to move the tractor offset from the trailer, but I just didn't have enough room and I didn't feel like spinning my tires and tearing my tires up. I need to get her chained down and then we can hit the road. I had to lose that pallet, unfortunately. I just don't have the space. It is pretty evident in a day where I needed everything to go right, everything has seemingly taken a turn in a different direction. It would appear that I've used up all of my karma for the time being. And heck, we still gotta get home. Oh, neat. Get this snugged up, then I can raise those outriggers and shut the machine off. Get my windows secured. Mike was nice enough to let me wait till the morning to offload. Got back pretty late. Everything seemed to ride really well though. Chains are still pretty tight. And everything's still on here. People hate that I just wrap my straps, but that's what I do because it's fast and easy for me. All you got to do to undo a ratchet strap, you just lift up all the way. It does the work for you. It cams open and you just pull. That's it. There's nothing fancy about it, guys. They're not complicated pieces of equipment. It is an absolutely beautiful morning. These are my straps, right? Oh, looky there, self-unloading. Neat. See if we can get this backhoe off here. It's a pretty simple process. Nothing too crazy at all. I need that. I need this. Take that with me. There's 4 cylinders on top there. That's gonna lift this trailer up, then we can retract those pins. Never can remember which way is which. It's kind of labeled. All right. Good guess. Pins in, that valve right there. Very nice. Down on the ground. Very nice. This is like the safety, the travel lock. Oh. Oh. Who put this bucket here? Ugh. And that's going to pull that up. I'll just give her a little. There it goes. Did it go? Not yet. Beautiful. That'll work. Then there's like a little kickstand right here. It's going to support the neck for us. We'll get everything unhooked and then we can pull off. So for me, in my opinion, I think it's 100% worth it. All I have to do is upkeep that physical and make sure I'm renewing my license when my license comes up for expiration. It doesn't take a tremendous amount to keep it, and each year they make the process of getting that CDL more and more difficult, which is a good thing, I think, but it means it's harder for me to get that certification. Again, all I got to do is maintain it. It's a backup plan. It's an insurance policy. It's a whatever happens, happens. I can always find a gig, driving a truck somewhere, making some extra money, whether it be for a living, if I need to do that, or just for a little bit of extra fun money. It also allows me to do crazy cool projects on the homestead because I can truck whenever I want. Now, a huge thanks, and a huge part of that is obviously for Dirt Perfect. He's nice enough to let me rent his lowboy and his truck from him. Not everybody has that opportunity, but you can rent semis from people. I think Penske rents semis. There's companies that do rent semis. So if I had a CDL and I needed to go buy an excavator or move something, I could do that. It is definitely an asset, and it's definitely something I plan on holding on to. Next thing on the channel, we're gonna either be digging pond test holes up at the YouTube yacht for a potential pond at the YouTube yacht, or back framing on the YouTube yacht. It just kind of depends what shows up and what the weather's doing and what I feel like, honestly. I definitely appreciate you guys watching, and I hope I get to see you on the next one.